Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is your business morning today, Tuesday, the 4th of June. Of course, it's a public holiday in Nigeria for the Muslim fasting celebration, the end of that. So the markets are closed for today and tomorrow. So we put in all of that on the plate for you. But again, let's look at what's at some of the big stories we're following for the business and markets, even as we go on a holiday. Listed on the Custom Street, MTN Nigeria Communications PLC set to become the big boy on broad stage. The quest for a payment service banking license from the Central Bank of Nigeria has been revved up one step. The telco giant has created a new subsidiary by the title Yellow Digital Financial Services Limited. MTN wants to use this new subsidiary to carry out financial services business in Nigeria. Some analysts have predicted that MTN will be the largest financial services group in Nigeria if it secures market regulators' approval to float a financial services system. This is one big story that's just ahead. Meantime, Owando's regulatory face-off hits a new high with the Lagos Federal High Court ordering the Securities and Exchange Commission to stay off and stop from giving effect to any of the long list of sanctions issued against the oil trading company in a 5-page letter sent to Owando on Friday. That's one big story everyone is aware of right now. The court says the OSCC should stop sending an interim management team into Owando, and all parties should remain to stay status quo or keep the status quo until the main suit brought before the court by Owando is heard. Of course, this is the second time in 2 years that Owando is taking the market regulators to court. First, it was in October when Owando took the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange to court, asking the court to stop both institutions from placing the shares of Owando on technical suspension. That now we have a second court injunction against the market authorities by Owando Nigeria PLC. Meantime, the Securities and Exchange Commission's staffers went on the process yesterday. They said they were preventing the takeover of SEC by the suspended but now cleared Munir Guazo from returning to office. That court order came from the industrial court, and then now the staffers reportedly shut down the headquarters of the SEC and asking that Guazo should now be reinstated as declared by the industrial court. So that's part of the stories this morning. But first, let's look at the market. Starting June, with the rest of the global markets on the negative footing, what you call a back foot in Nigerian stock market, I shared that yesterday. The markets wobbled on Monday globally, no thanks to the very poor manufacturing data for the month of May from the big economies around the world, including the US, China, UK, Spain, Italy, Vietnam, South Korea. It was all bleeding all over. So that's what the big story. Then, of course, the trade fight between the US and China on one hand, and now expanding into Mexico. All of that were part of the stories we shared on Monday. Welcome to June, and welcome Temple Ashajo, our business correspondent, not from the stock, not at the stock exchange this morning. The doors are closed on him. So, but this door is always open here at the headquarters. He's always welcome here, any day, anytime.
Even on public holidays.
Even on public holidays, it's good to have you here. A very interesting Monday because the NST index went down, the broad index. Even the unlisted securities shared in that bout. Where are the numbers?
The fixed income market also was cold yesterday because
very
everyone is just holding on.
Monday.
Keeping fingers crossed, waiting and watching what will happen to oil price eventually, because that seems to be a major determinant factor right now. Again, fixed income side of things yesterday, that's domestically now. The fact that the CBN held some kind of auction eventually, so everybody went for that, and in anticipation for some better rates there. So, Ben,
I love the data. The devil is always in the details. Let's have the details. Let's have the details.
But you know, the fact that it is actually low, the market was down yesterday, it's some kind of a good news to a lot of investors because it helps them to go back to the drawing board. Let's do some valuation and see how that will impact on the investment decision.
When you're in the market, you always reappraise your position.
Absolutely.
If you stand still, You're going to get a double whammy.
Well,
you lose on the way up, you lose on the way down. That's the way the Americans call it. It's called double whammy.
Double whammy.
You don't stand still on a market street.
You keep walking.
You keep moving.
Exactly. Well, yesterday, basically, with the equities market, we were down some 0.45%. Of course, investors are looking like, hey, what is going to happen now going forwards to the key benchmark indices? Yesterday, we saw activity level quite positive. Volume of transaction was up some 16%. And of course, turnover came in at 2.81 billion naira. That's a rise of some 3% compared to what we had on Friday. And of course, the total deals that we had yesterday was 3,850. And if you go by the sectoral performance of the markets yesterday, the indices, the major 5 indices that we track on the markets, I'll talk of the banking, consumer goods, and industrial goods side of things, insurance and oil and gas were all in red yesterday, all painted red. In terms of the banking side of things, we're down by 31 basis points. ETI lost some 9.87% due to some profits taken there. Wema Bank was down 3.13%. That's some kind of a sell-off on that position there. FBN Holdings, Unity Bank, GT Bank, all of this segments of the market actually experienced serious losses yesterday. FCMB came in as the top traded security yesterday. Some 70 million units of the shares valued at 112 million naira was actually traded off yesterday in the market. The consumer goods side of things was also down. GSK, Nascon, Dangote Flour, name it. A lot of these major names on that counter were down yesterday. Industrial goods segment of the market was down by 12 basis points. Kiotics, WAPCO, Berger Paints, all these companies contributed massively to the losses we saw there. In the insurance segment of the market got some serious sell-off on mutual benefit and, of course, Consolidated Hallmark Insurance PLC, which were both down by 9.09% and 8.7% respectively. The oil and gas segment of the markets was down yesterday, 0.57%. We saw O&O, given the issues around it, tailspinning to from 4 naira 20 kobo down to some 3 naira 80 kobo or thereabouts. Eventually, we understand that some kind of equilibrium took place. It's kind of moderated at 3 naira 80 kobo, given the resumption of demand, because initially it was on offer, and eventually the offer kind of moderated, and investors were able to see this kind of stability they saw there. Seplat yesterday also was down some 9.07% from 549 naira down to new low of 500 naira. Of course, this is some kind of a reaction to the level of a decline we've seen around oil price in recent time. And of course, the fact that Seplat enjoyed some serious movements for the greater part of May, that's kind of sentiment that we saw on that counter yesterday at the markets kind of explains the level of profits taken that's also transpired on that side of the market. So we now see it trading at some kind of 22 year-to-date decline in terms of the performance of Seplat. That's what we have on that counter. Japol was down some 7.14%, and of course, Forte Oil also recorded some kind of losses, 2.18% yesterday in the market. But in total, we had 28 losers and of course just 15 gainers in the market yesterday. This takes us to USI of the NSD OTC market, which is also down yesterday by about 0.5% yesterday. Market cap was at 535 billion naira. For the fixed income side of the market, things were really quiet. Bonds was at a slow pace, little flows passed through in the session. We saw yields expanding, by some average of 6 basis points yesterday. And of course, generally weak appetite was what we saw there. For the treasury bill side of things, we got a 317.94 billion naira worth of auction yesterday. The markets that was issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria, we saw stop rates marginally lower than the previous auction that investors had. But for the secondary side of the market, it was a bit of positive interest at the short end of the curve, but for the mid to the long end of things, it was really negative.
Quite a lot to chew there. I'm sure this is how everybody will continue. The markets is down 2 sessions. So when folks are back on Thursday, just trying to see whatever could be wrapped up. Full business will start upper week. But again, we have a June 12th public holiday again being punctuated.
So much of public holidays.
So much public holidays, and folks just want to move on. But quite a lot to talk. Thank you so much, Temple Ashaju, our business correspondent.